Hello everyone, my name is Kawanga, and this is a quick video tutorial on how to use the Bucket plugin TradeMod for version 1.9.2. TradeMod allows you to trade with other players using a mock interface akin to something like RuneScape or Steam. Just so you know, I will be using TradeMod version 1.9_3A to demonstrate the features of the plugin. This means that if you are watching this video in the future, things may have changed or there may be new features that I'm not going to be covering today. Let's get started. Alright, let's begin. To begin, TradeMod is a plugin that's primarily used through commands. As it stands right now, there is no such thing as commandless accepting and requesting of trades. So the first thing you're going to want to know is that TradeMod does not have a normal command structure. It utilizes one master command, and then all of the other commands are arguments of that master command. So let me demonstrate what I'm saying here. The master command for TradeMod is /tm. If you type /tm into your chat and press enter, it will tell you that is an invalid command, and then you need to use /tm help and the page number for that help page to view help information. /tm by itself does nothing. It is only a prefix that you apply to the commands that you actually want to use in order to use a command. So let me pull up the actual list of commands in the plugin and we can get started. So obviously there is a help command. That help command requires an argument, a number that specifies the page that you wish to view. There are currently 2 pages of help right now, and I plan to expand that later on, but the 2 pages are a very brief summary of what the plugin is, and of course, like I showed you, the commands that are available to you in the plugin. So let's start with requesting of another player. Alright, so you want to request another player to trade. Like I said, TradeMod is a plugin that primarily uses commands to do something. And the command that requests another player to trade is obviously /tm request. Request requires an argument, and that argument is the name of the player that you want to request to trade. Naturally, this means that you cannot request players that do not exist. So for example, if I want to request a player that is not online, for example ASDF or ASDEF for example, it will tell me that they were not found. This is because they are not online. In fact, the only players online currently are player and myself, Kawanga. So additionally, you cannot request yourself. And just so you know, REQ is a shorthand version of REQEST, or request. So /tm REQ, Kawanga will not do anything. You cannot request or accept requests from yourself. You can't target yourself using either the accept or request command. Secondly, another thing that might cause some issues is if you're not within range of the player that you wish to request to trade. This is a configurable server value. You must be within an X number of blocks of a player in order to trade with him. The default value for that is 10 blocks. So in order for me to trade with player here, I must be within 10 blocks of them. For me right now, I'm pretty sure I'm not. So let's take a look. If I try to request player, it tells me that I am not close enough to them. I must be within 10 blocks of them to trade. This is just a feature that is a kind of a safety measure to make sure that players cannot use trades as a secondary inventory. So let's say that I'm within that 10 block radius of player and he's online and he's, everything is good. I have permission to use the command. Let's try to request them. So now everything's valid, everything's right. It will tell you that you have requested player to trade with you. It will also say that the request will time out in 10 seconds if they do not respond. That 10-second value is also configurable and changes on a per server basis, though it will most likely remain at its default value of 10 seconds. This means that if player does not accept the request within 10 seconds, the request will auto decline itself and player can no longer accept a request from you. This also means that if I were to try and request player immediately after requesting them, within that 10-second window, I cannot request them again. This is a measure to make sure that players cannot spam other players with requests. So that's all you need to know about requesting. Let's get on to accepting a trade request. Alright, so now that we've gone over requesting a player to trade with you, let's go over accepting a player's request to trade with you. So I'm going to have player request me to trade. Real quick, let me do this. TM request Kawenga. Alright, I have been requested to trade with player. And we'll say that, type /TM ACC or accept player to accept the request. The request will time out in 10 seconds. So I'm intentionally going to let this time out and show you what happens if you try to accept a request that has been auto-declined. So if I try and accept the request from player now, it will say that I have no active trade request from player. That's because the request timed out. It's been more than 10 seconds than from when I got the request. So now let's say that I actually want to accept the request from him. Keep in mind that all of the restrictions from request also apply to accept. That means that you must be within, the server configurable distance. So in this case, I must be within 10 blocks of player in order to accept the request. And I also must have permission to accept the request as well. So let me accept another request from player. Oh, 1 second here. Here we are. And let me accept the request. Once you accept the request, you're going to see this window. And I will go into more depth about how this video works in the next section. Alright, now that you're in the trading window, you're going to see a couple things here. Firstly, the window's name indicates which side of the trading window that you can place your offer in. So for example, player can place his offer in the left side of the window, and my name is Kawenga, I can place my offer in the right side of the window. Secondly, you're going to notice these colored glass panes here. Each of them do a different thing. For example, these black panes don't do anything. They're just visual indicators. They separate the window into two different partitions so that you can easily tell which side is your own. These green buttons are confirm buttons, and I'll go into how confirmation works a little bit more in depth later on. And finally, this red button is a cancel button. This means that if you press this button, it will act the same as if you run the cancel command. Basically, if you cancel a trade, it will completely remove all the items from your offer and from the other player's offer, restore them to your inventory, and then close the trading window, and it'll act like the trade never happened. There is a caveat to this though. If you cancel a trade while your inventory happens to be full and then items in your offer cannot be put back into your inventory, those items will be dropped. So just keep this in mind. Make sure your inventory is able to retrieve items from your offer when you cancel. So now that you know how the buttons work, let's get on to how you can trade. So in this version of TradeMod, all inventory management abilities are available. What I mean by abilities are things like shift clicking, things like dragging, things like triple clicking or double clicking to collect items all to your cursor. And let me show you how this works. So normally, because this is technically a chest, if I were to shift click this diamond, it would appear in this slot. But because I override that functionality of the normal Minecraft, shift clicking items will only appear in your side of the offer. So let me show you. The visual glitch that you see is just because of a lag between the server and the client. The client expects for the items to go into the top left corner, but the server says no, that's not where the items go. They go in the offer that corresponds to the player who shift clicks. So just so you know, that's what happens. It will only go to your offer. You cannot modify the other player's offer. And of course, let me show you. So let me just open up the window on player's side, and let me place some items in. Okay, just some random items. And let me show you. So if this was a normal chest, I would expect that I could just, take this book out. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for player, I cannot take his items. You will get an error message that says that part of the window is players. You cannot modify it. You cannot modify it no matter what you're doing. So, for example, I want to shift click this, won't let me do it. I want to drag this around, won't let me do it. I want to switch items, will not let me do it. I want to drag items into it, will not let me modify their window. There is a lot of safeguards in place to make sure that your offer cannot be modified by the other player's offer. And for example, let me just show you that in fact shift clicking does not modify the other player's window. So let me give player a stack of diamonds here. Actually just kind of not really a full stack, just to show you that it doesn't actually add to the offer. So let me take out my diamonds here. And let's say I want to put, for some reason, 32 diamonds in. Normally, you'd expect 32 diamonds to be placed first in the diamonds, the 43 diamonds, and then the remainder will be placed right next to it. Instead, because it's overridden, it will not be placed in player's offer, it will be placed in your own. And you can just see how that works. Just to let you know, the way I implement shift clicking is a little bit different than how shift clicking is implemented in vanilla Minecraft. It's just the way that I implemented the algorithm. So firstly, instead of going and making a pass and checking for all items of the same type, it will go for the first available slot. So let me show you what I mean. So if I place 32 diamonds here and I shift click, normally in vanilla Minecraft, 32 diamonds will be placed in that in the original or currently existing stack of diamonds, or stack of whatever item you're shifting clicking. That doesn't exist in this. This is just because of the way, like I said, of how I implemented it. It's not a big deal, it's not a huge problem. Also, you might want to know that if you shift click a full stack, it will not place the remaining items in the next slot over, or in the next available stack that corresponds to the item. Normal vanilla Minecraft, if I show you, will actually place the stack next to it. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to shift click. And also keep that in mind that if you do happen to close the trading window, you can always reopen it by doing /tm open, and it'll always give you a notification telling you that's how you do that. So now that you have items in the trade, how do we actually trade them to the other player? And that's where confirming buttons come in. If you've ever used Steam, for example, to trade items to another player, you would know that you have to lock in or confirm your offer before you can actually trade with another player. And both players have to confirm their offer before you're allowed to trade. This is a basic security measure. It's just to make sure that players cannot modify their offer after they've already put in things. So, for example, I want to give however many diamonds this is, 96 diamonds, for this players, diamond chest plate and his enchantments and whatever, because apparently that's what I want to give him 96 diamonds for. And I know this is exactly what I want to give him. I want his items for my items, and I don't want anything to change here. So I find my corresponding confirm button. Just a little tip here: if you're on the right side of the window, your confirm button will always be the bottom confirm button, and for the left player, your confirm button will always be the top confirm button. It also tells you which confirm button you are, so you don't need to really worry about this, but it's just a little tip in case you're wondering, just to do it a little bit more quick. So if I click this confirm button, the glass pane that represents the button will turn blue, and both players will get a message that says that I confirmed my offer. Once I confirm my offer, I cannot modify my inventory. Sorry about the jump cut there. I actually ran into a small issue with modifying an offer while confirmed. I've since fixed that issue, and we're now able to continue on with the video. So as I was saying before, confirming an offer means that you're locked in. This is what you want to give to the other player for what they're going to give you. And when you confirm an offer, that means that whatever you're giving them shouldn't change, and they expect it not to change. So this means that you cannot modify your inventory or your offer at all. No matter what you do, if you try to shift click, if you try to drag, if you try to drop items, it doesn't matter. You cannot change the contents of either your inventory or the offer. So that's just one thing that's kind of a safety measure that TradeMod implements. There's another safety measure related to confirming, and let me show you how that works. So, for example, if I'm confirmed and the other player happens to, for example, want to add a new item into the trade, or maybe wants to take away an item from the trade. Maybe, for example, he wants to scam me. He wants to, you know, put up some nice items, and I put up my items and I confirm my offer, and he thinks that he wants to make sure that he gets my items for nothing. So he's going to try and remove items from the trade, but because the way TradeMod works, he cannot do that. Let me show you how this works. So if I make any modification on player's inventory, this happens. As you can see, once I added the diamond sword to the trade, it doesn't matter if you're taking items away or putting items or doing anything that modifies the inventory. It doesn't matter even if they're modifying their own inventory. It still unconfirms you. Like I said, this is just a safety measure to make sure that you don't get scammed. So now that you know about those two safety measures, we can finally complete the trade. So let me confirm on player's side. And just like before, you can't modify their confirmed status. Now that they're confirmed, all I have to do is say, okay, do I want to give player, for whatever reason, 4 stacks of diamonds for his diamond sword? He can't modify his offer while it's confirmed. And, you know, if I modify my offer, it's going to automatically unconfirm his. So make sure that what you're trading here is what you want to trade. And once you do, all you need to do is click the confirm button. Once you click this button, the trade will be finished. The trade window will close. You will get the items from the other player's offer, and the other player will get your offer. So let me show you. There we are. As soon as I click that button, the trade finished. I got his diamond sword, and he got my 4 diamond stacks. Let me show you. Let's drop the diamond stacks onto myself here. And there we are. All 4 diamond stacks. So there you are. And of course, this trading plugin supports, durability, supports enchantments, it supports books, it supports items with data, basically. You don't need to worry about if your enchantments will remain on the item, or if the durability of the item will change, or whatever else. It's not going to. So just keep that in mind. So finally, now that this is the case, now that we've finished, we can move on to some more miscellaneous things. In the next section, I will show you what happens, or the reasons why you could cancel a trade. Alright, so we're back in the trade window, and we're back in a trade with player. So let's say that for whatever reason, I don't want to continue the trade with player here. So all I have to do is click this cancel button. So once I click this cancel button, the trade will end. It will act like the trade never happened. I will get my items back, and player will get his items back that are in his offer. Keep in mind that if you do not have inventory space for these items, and I'm going to show you this here actually, if you do not have available inventory space for the items here, they will be dropped. This is currently alpha behavior. For now, this is how it works, but in the future this may change. It may in the future give you a warning and tell you can't cancel the trade before you free up space in your inventory. But for now, just be cautious. Make sure that your inventory isn't full before canceling the trade. So let me cancel the trade, and I'm going to show you what happens if your inventory is full. It will give you a message. It'll say your inventory was too full. Some of the items from the trade have been dropped, and also tell you the reason why the trade was canceled. There are other reasons why a trade could be canceled. Let me just fix up my inventory here and request player again. I don't know why I requested myself there. And let me accept from player's side. Okay. There are other reasons why you could cancel a trade. For example, just like in the requesting and accepting commands, that maximum radius, that 10 block radius, that server configurable radius that you have to be in, also applies during a trade. So if I move too far away from player here, it's going to tell me that the trade has been canceled. And like it says, the trade's been canceled. I can no longer open the trade window because I'm not in the trade anymore. And it'll give you all your items back and whatnot. Remember to make sure that your inventory isn't full, but just make sure that you're within the maximum distance or in that block radius, and try not to move away. And also say, if that's the reason why, it'll tell you, whatever player wandered too far away and the trade has been canceled. There are also a few more reasons why a trade can be canceled. So let me once again request player to trade and accept on his side. If I decide I want to be malicious or something, I can kill player. And if I do, I'm actually going to have player kill me for this demonstration. And I am going to put all my diamonds, all my inventory actually in my trade offer, just so you can see how this works. So dying is another way or another reason for a trade to get canceled. And unlike all the other reasons, instead of getting your items back, which would be obviously, you die, your items drop on the ground, all of your items in your offer, once I die here, will be dropped onto the ground. And let me, as you can see, all of the diamond stacks and the wood block were dropped on the ground. This is just so that you don't keep your items upon death. It's another one of those little safety features, or kind of like a safety feature. It's kind of more of a logical thing than anything else. And then finally, if we want to finish this, TM accept, there is one final reason why a trade might be canceled, and this is if player logs out during a trade. And don't be concerned, because you will not lose your items if they're in an offer if you log out. So let me show you how this works. I disconnected. I'm no longer on the server. I'm going to rejoin, and boom, the trade's no longer open. The trader is no longer available. It says I'm currently not in a trade. Fortunately, all of my items were returned to me. I'm going to say this again. If your inventory is full and your items cannot be returned to you, they will be dropped on the ground. And if you're logging out, that's probably not a good thing, because you're not going to get the notification that your items were dropped. So just keep that in mind in the case of logging out of it during a trade. So that's all of the reasons why you could cancel a trade. Also keep in mind that there is a /TM cancel command. This is if you decide that you're not in the trading window, or for whatever reason you just don't want to open up the window to click the button. You can just type /TM cancel. It has the exact same functionality as the button does. So that's it for canceling. I think I'm going to move on to a few of the admin commands and just some other miscellaneous things. So let's get on to that. Alright, now on to the admin commands associated with TradeMod. At this time, there is only one admin command, and it's /TM reload. And it does exactly what you might expect. It reloads the TradeMod config. The config.yml includes the configurable values for the plugin for trading itself. It also includes the messages associated with the plugin. So that means things like localization is supported by the plugin, and reloading allows you, for example, if you're making a Spanish translation of all the messages and you make a typo, you can just quickly reload what the message says. And if you're an admin, if you're a server owner, you're gonna have to read the help information located in the config.yml. And it's going to tell you everything you need to know in order to modify the values. It's going to tell you some of the caveats associated with modifying the values. And it's going to tell you things about the format specifiers and things like that. So let me just show you that it does actually reload the messages and the config values in the config.yml. So you saw the normal reloaded config message. I'm just going to modify the message and just have it say just an example for the video on a new line. Now when I type /tm reload, it reloads the configuration before sending the message, so the message will actually be modified when you type /tm reload. So let me just show you this. There we are, just an example for the video. So that's how to use the config.yml. Like I said, if you're a server owner, you're going to have to read through the information that I wrote in the config.yml, and just so you understand it. And I think that's just about it for TradeMod. So if there's any more information, if you'd like to know, there's a link to the Discord for TradeMod that I have set up. You can come in, and if I'm in there, you can send me a message and I'll respond to you. If you need any help and I'm not there, for example, you can post a message in the general chat and I will get back to you whenever I'm back online. If you have a microphone and you have some questions or something, you can by all means message me and I'll talk to you in one of the voice channels. And other than that, I think that's everything that you need to know about TradeMod. Currently, I'm ending this video using the 4a_ fixed version. I know I started out with 3a. Now we're ending at 4a fixed. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, some of these things might change in the near future. Guaranteed to change. There will be economy support in the near future. There will be logging commands and admin commands. I plan on adding a menu for you to view previous trades. There's a lot of plans in place here. So this is just the bare bones. This is the sort of the base functionality of the plugin as it stands right now. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this informative.